Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price today as we are seeing a very bullish test of the weekly open right now. And you can see Bitcoin is back above 61,844, which is the previous all-time high. And we saw a test of this channel support exactly like we expected yesterday and came straight to our target. But more importantly, when we look at what's happening to Ethereum to Bitcoin, you can see we dodged a death cross with this 50-day moving average not coming below the 200-day moving average, and we're seeing strength above this channel heading towards our target of that 40,000 to 41,000 Satoshi level. We have a lot to look at today. I'm going to be your umpire, but I am going to make some bold statements in this video later in this video, so stay tuned. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Ubaidi. First, I want to talk about what's happening to Bitcoin's volume, because this all comes down to the fundamentals. And what do I always say is the path of least resistance when there's low volume, because there is still low volume for Bitcoin. And you guys know the path of least resistance when there is low volume is always going to be sideways to a little bit higher. And that's exactly what I think is happening here with Bitcoin. You can see we did come down to test this weekly open, and then we saw a push to the upside, and now we have this very bullish wick forming on the daily chart, which is going to close in about 3 hours. And so we want to monitor this daily candle. If the body of this candle closes above 61,844, in my opinion, that is a sign that we're most likely going to see continued upside, or at least stay above that $61,000 level, which is going to be extremely positive as we head into the weekend, where we start to see more manipulation in the markets due to CME futures markets being closed. And so the key levels to watch right now is the daily candle body. Is it going to close above 61,844? Because if it does, to me, that is a very bullish sign. We do want to address that there is some sell pressure here, but this candle has yet to close, so we don't know if this is going to close green or red, because we know the trick, trap, and frustrate crew always likes to come in right before the daily candle close. And so we want to monitor this. We don't know how this is going to turn out, but realize that if we do stay above 61,844, in my opinion, that's a confirmation that we'll most likely see 66 to 67,000 US dollars to come towards the top of this wedge formation, which is pretty much the midpoint of this channel that Bitcoin has tested previously. And you can see if we come to that 66 to 67,000 dollar level, that's where I would start to expect some sort of resistance there for Bitcoin. And then if we cross 68,000, I think that's going to be that straight shot to 75,000. For the downside, let's say the trick, trap, frustrate crew does come in and pull the rug on us. Well, we want to watch this weekly open. Of course, you can see we tested it already once. It's right at that big even of 60,000. If this wasn't at 3 a.m., I would have taken a long at this weekly open. Of course, it was at 3 a.m. for me, at least, Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles, and so I wasn't able to take a long here. But realize that when we look at the monthly open, you can see we have confluence here with this major level of 58,300, which we know has been a very key level over the last 3 weeks when Bitcoin saw a lot of chart vibration in that zone. And that's also where the previous weekly open sits. And so for me, that $60,000 level, if we breach that, then we really want to monitor 58,300. If we start to come down below 58,300, we're most likely to come down to test this 50-period moving average once again. And so we want to monitor that, but I don't see much of a reason for Bitcoin to do that. And this is me making some bold statements as an umpire. You know, I'm sure there are some umpires that whisper in the players' ears on the field, right? And so I might be doing a little bit of that later in this video as we continue on with this analysis. But realize that when we look at traditional markets, specifically the DXY, which we'll cover more in just a second, we're seeing weakness coming down below the 50-day moving average as we expected yesterday. And that is a sign that we could see continued upside for Bitcoin. But I want to focus on Ethereum before we get to traditional markets, because you can see we've also got this extremely bullish daily wick here for Ethereum, and we want to monitor this daily close just like Bitcoin to see, are we going to close this body above this channel resistance, which is now becoming support. Of course, garden variety market behavior, as we all know, previous resistance always turns into support. So you can see it acted as a resistance on the 4 hour. We came up and acted as support. You can see we breached it and tested it. And of course, any important level, the market is always going to want to test that level, and it will always tell you whether a level is significant or not. You can see how this resistance has acted as a support, as a resistance in the past. And so if we close this daily candle body above this channel, which is right around that $2,400 area, I think that's going to be a bullish sign that we're going to reach our target of that 2,700 US dollar area based on the schematics of the initial symmetrical triangle here. And you can see this line representing this symmetrical triangle breakout for Ethereum. But more importantly, let's look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, because on the Poloniex chart, which is the only one that shows the 200-week moving average, you can see we've yet to come to test this 200-week moving average. This is a very big deal because you can see Ethereum has not breached this since 2019. And so if we get above here, that could be a huge confirmation of a massive move for Ethereum. And we know that ever since we saw this bottom in reverse, which we called throughout this whole process, that's when EIP 1559 was announced, and that's creating, well, that's basically going to fork Ethereum and make it a deflationary asset, which changes the whole fundamentals. And we know fundamentals are just as important as technical. So there is that possibility we could get above that 200-week moving average. That could signal an even further breakout for Ethereum, possibly towards the $3,000 big even, because it can do whatever it really wants when it's in price discovery. When we look at the schematics on a weekly chart, you can see this was the 2018 rally, and we're only just so far above that right now. But when we look at Bitcoin schematics, notice how far up we are from the 2018 rally. So we, are basically around this area for Ethereum. So, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, I think very possible here for Ethereum in the macro. I don't want to get you guys too excited, but I do want to cover that. And then we'll quickly look at what's happening to altcoins, because just as we predicted, when we pull up the total cryptocurrency market cap, you can see here, we did see this daily candle form a new all-time high. So we're seeing strength, and you can see now we're trying to get back above and continue to the upside. And as long as we're above the weekly open at that $2 trillion market cap, big even, that to me is very bullish that we could potentially start heading towards the $3 trillion market cap. And a lot of that is going to come with altcoins. You can see others dominance showing strength as we expected here, retesting an important level, garden variety market behavior. Once again, this resistance level that dates back to 2017 is now a support level. You can see we tested it in 2020, we tested it in 2018, 2017, and that is a major, major level. And now that altcoins have actual use cases, they're not just initial coin offerings that don't provide immediate returns to investors. This is a whole different altcoin season that is based on DeFi, even NFTs, and actual use cases within companies and institutions utilizing these cryptocurrencies. This breakout could take us to 20, 30% altcoin dominance. Who knows? This is really the future of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, watching the others dominance chart, which is really interesting. And with that being said, let's look at traditional markets, because the DXY, extremely important to start monitoring this over the next few days into the next few weeks, because we are approaching this major level here where we have confluence with the 100 period moving average, the 91.015 level, and on the weekly chart we have the 20-week moving average. And this is the first time we've gotten above the 20-week moving average and the 200-day moving average since we saw the 2020 push down for the DXY, and it's reversing at a very similar level that we saw a reversal to a bullish trend back in 2018. And so we want to monitor this support level. You can see the 50-day doesn't look like it wants to hold. If we come into more micro charts like the 4-hour, you can see we're kind of rounding down here. I think a little volume can just take us straight back down to that 91.015 area, where we're going to come and test this 100 period moving average, test the 20-week moving average, test the channel support, and test 91.015. If this sees a push to the upside, we do now have a potential inverse head and shoulder pattern forming, and realize that that would be extremely similar to the way that we reversed back here, where we had this sort of inverse head and shoulder pattern. And so we want to monitor this for the DXY, because so far what the print is telling me as an umpire for you is that we are going to see further downside for the DXY, which implies that we see further upside for traditional assets and cryptocurrency market, and even precious metals, which we'll talk about with gold in just a second. We called that breakout yesterday. And so even just a little bit more of a push down can show upside for those asset classes. And then from there, once we start to test this level, we want to see, are we going to break out? Because if that's the case, then we have to be more cautious with assets with the US dollar potentially strengthening, because that could bring the US dollar value of the assets down. And so the DXY is a direct correlation to all of these markets, and that's why we cover it And let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500 forming new highs. But more importantly, gold, check this out. We called this major breakout here at 1764.50. You can see the chart told us simply here that this was an important level. You can see we saw a little bit of a break here, chart vibration, but we saw bullish action. You know, if this was the final destination, when a final destination is reached, you'll see price action test the destination and immediately return back. But if price action shows strength at an important level like this did, where it wicked through it on the 4-hour chart, then that is starting to indicate that this isn't the final destination, and that's why you saw this additional push to the upside for gold, right? And so hopefully that gives you a little bit of a lesson. So when you reach a final destination, you touch the destination, you typically will just turn right back in the other direction. And if that doesn't occur and you show strength, that's when you want to start looking at other indicators for confirmation that yes, this is just going to be a vibrational push that can see continued upside. It's very similar to what's happening to the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, where we had this extremely important level. You can see we showed chart vibration, and you know, when you come down to like the hourly chart, for example, you can see how it obviously was an important level that acted as a resistance, but we kept testing. When you knock on the door 4 or 5 times, eventually the door opens. And so you can see here, we came to this destination and we didn't come and turn right back around. So we ended up having a cup of coffee. And so that's the other way that you can kind of look at this. Sometimes when you reach a destination, you'll have a cup of coffee, and if you're having a cup of coffee at that destination, then that also is a indicator that that's not the final destination. And so usually when you reach a final destination, you see an immediate turn. So I don't want to go too much into it now. I'm sounding like what's that movie, Final Destination? I'm sounding like a promoter for that movie. I keep saying Final Destination. But anyways, that's pretty much it for today. If you guys want to win one of my favorite books on value investing, hardcover version, Principles by Ray Dalio, all you have to do is comment below and share this video. I'm going to pick a winner from our video yesterday, and we'll wrap up this video. And remember to smash the like button. Let's see if we can hit 300 likes, by the way, on this video. I think we almost did yesterday. Let's see. We'll pick a comment from... Let's see, Christian Ramirez says, coffee plus Naeem. You want a book? Send me a message on Instagram. The link is in the description below. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis. And until next time, snipers out.